Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How's
Good.
everybody?
Good. Who's going to be joining you today from Cleveland?
Dr. Laura Bowen.
Can you spell her last name?
Bowen.
All right. Thank you. If you want to go ahead and try your screen share to make sure that everything's working.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
How's that?
That looks great. We can just stay right there. And we'll, as soon as your project host joins us, we'll kick right off. So as a side note, before we start, how is the real life project going at CC?
It's going well. I think that this year, I think we had over 50 courses running through the program. And we've had mixed results in completion. Common feedback is the same as what we've heard all along, which is time commitment that it takes to develop a course, I think is a recurring common feedback. And I'll touch on that in my presentation as well as how we address that and looking at iterations of that moving forward. Dr. Bowen has joined us.
All right. Okay. Dr. Bowen, welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm Dale Lamb from Gardner Webb. This is Jonathan Davis, DEOL Doctoral Defense. We'd like to welcome all of you here this afternoon, especially you, Dr. Bowen, because this is a partnership. Jonathan, I'll let you get started.
All right, thank you, Dr. Lamb. So again, my name is Jonathan Davis, and my project was an online course quality enhancement project. And the problem that I'm trying to address is the rate of failure in online courses at Cleveland Community College is significantly higher than that of other instructional modalities. And so why did I pick this problem? We're supposed to tie this back to the organizational framework. And when we look at social structures, when we look at technology and goals and environment, online courses fit very much within what the institution is focused on. So when we look at social structures, you're looking at the students, the faculty, the staff, the teams and committees that are working together, the feedback that comes out of those committee meetings and out of task forces, as well as what is the goals of the organization, what is the top level leaders' goals and strategy for success. And so this was very much a problem that involved social structures, even more so than I originally realized. At first, I thought that this was more of a technical problem, that we needed a rubric, we needed a set of standards, and people needed to adhere to those standards, but very quickly learned that this was not simply a technical problem. When we look at technology and the use of technology, this is a perfect fit for talking about how instructors use technology and video and the LMS to deliver instruction online. And with the pandemic that happened, technology became even more critical. The goals of the organization, success for students, is a goal that the organization is focused on. It's in the organization's strategic plan. And my research showed that indeed there was a significant difference in the success rate of students that were in online courses and those that were in other instructional modalities. And then the environment that we operate within, both here on campus, but as well as the environment created by the pandemic, really created a necessity to change, which I think was something that helped gain my project more standing in the organization, and honestly a necessity to push forward in that and make online courses what the institution thought was of high quality. So looking at my literature review, some of the things that I want to highlight is how past research had really focused more on student characteristics. So historical research was focused more on the student, with a limited amount of research that had been conducted on courses or instructors. Emerging research is more focused on course quality and instructor characteristics as a method of improving student success. And these are things like instructor anxiety, technological skill gap, lack of experience with online teaching, and awareness of online learning pedagogies. So I just found it interesting in the process of doing this research that, and it really just, it seems pretty intuitive, but when academics are researching quality courses, the first thing that we go to is, what is the problem with the students, that they are not learning this material that we put out there? And I think that the emerging research is changing into being a little bit more introspective into what can we do as educators to our courses to make them more appealing to students. I think that, the professional development, along with strong support systems, is needed to help faculty get to a place with their online courses that they can feel confident in improving them while addressing anxiety, technological skill gap, and lack of experience with online teaching. Indeed, research is beginning to emerge that shows that students in well-designed online courses outperform those who are in similar traditional face-to-face seated courses. So there is a real opportunity here not to just address the performance gap between seated courses and online courses, but to really create with an online course a more successful learning experience for the student. So instructional technologies, another thing is that I learned through the literature review process is that in courses that included instructor-generated videos, students viewed them at a considerable rate, and their satisfaction with the course was improved. Their engagement and discussion increased in number and in depth. Instructor engagement and presence. Dr. Shana Smith at Jaggers at Ohio State University did considerable research in some of these emerging topics. And what she found was that students often complained when in low quality courses of having to teach themselves. And they felt that the material was just put out there and that it was up to them to digest this material and to teach themselves, as opposed to the instructor being an instructor and playing that role. She also noted that a top-down approach to address this among faculty was unlikely to be successful, and that a bottom-up approach should be cultivated in order to in whatever plan that was developed in order to encourage that development in faculty. Out of that, I took that that faculty peer mentoring models should be considered when incorporating professional development, but that leaders were also critical to the process. And so leaders must join faculty in sending a message that quality of all educational programs is important and that goals should be aligned with institution strategic plans to ensure the quality efforts of faculty are supported by college leadership. Wanted to touch on scope and approach to this project, which involved the adoption of a quality course rubric and a professional development plan around that. And I'm going to skip to the bottom there, incorporating the bottom-up approach into this professional development. A faculty peer mentorship model develops a social system, and an understanding of the social systems in an educational institution, I think, is critical to the success of any big professional development endeavor that involves all faculty. And what I think is critical to the process is buy-in. But looking at the social systems model, basically Getzels and Guba's social systems model defines two specific classes of phenomenon that are independent but phenomenally interactive. And that is the institution with its roles and role expectations, which comprises the nomothetic dimension, and the individuals with their personalities and needs dispositions, which comprises the idiographic or the personal dimension. And to control behaviors within the system, we must understand the nature and relationships of the elements that comprise the social system. So just to even develop this quality rubric, we got buy-in from faculty as well as college leaders. We took it to the e-learning committee. We developed an e-learning committee first in this process, which was membership of committees is normally staff heavy at our institution. This committee is comprised of the most faculty ratio of any committee. And I think that was important to developing buy-in around the course quality rubric. But like I said, the rubric I originally thought was, a technical fix to a technical problem, but this turned out to be more of an adaptive problem. And so the social systems model really is what helped step in and address that. I paired this with Singe's 5 disciplines for learning organizations. And Singe said that the organizations that will truly excel in the future will be the organizations that discover how to tap people's commitment and capacity to learn at all levels of the organization. And his theory involves dimensions of the organization and dimensions of the individual. So systems thinking is his first discipline. And systems thinking is not just getting the leaders to recognize the interrelationships and patterns that exist between all of the elements of this social system, but to see the participants to also see those elements. Personal mastery involves individuals' learning and growth. And so you can see personal mastery clearly plays a role in any professional development model. Managers can encourage personal mastery by exhibiting this type of behavior themselves. Singe's 3rd discipline was mental models. And that's, individuals' assumptions, views, prejudice, and how they impact their visions and their interactions with each other. I think that another thing to note, that not only was this an adaptive problem, but this is a cultural problem as well. It is difficult to change something that has been the same way since the inception of online courses here at the college. So that's it. Culture, I have said, I've come to learn, is probably the closest thing to a force of nature in in organizations. It is something that is slow to change. It is something that is difficult to change, and it is definitely adaptive. Singay also stated that when people truly share a vision, they are connected, bound together by a common aspiration. So it was up to leaders to kind of show and express the need to change and to get that buy-in from individuals in the organization. And the fifth and final discipline was team learning, and how team learning builds on the personal mastery discipline, beginning with individual learning and then focusing on team learning. We can build up to organizational learning. And organizational learning, I think, was the true purpose of this project. Did not necessarily realize that in the beginning, but it is a learning process. And I have learned that organizations can learn and change. It's hard, especially when those changes involve cultural shifts, cultural paradigms and changes, but that it can be done. But it is important to abide by some practices, and very glad to have reviewed these models for improvement while developing the plan at Cleveland to shift. Looking at inquiry methods, just wanted to quickly talk about my mixed methods approach. There was a survey instrument that was developed in order to question participants in the improvement, in the professional development process. Those were incorporated, as well as quantitative data that was from our student information system. And just to highlight how significant the difference is, there was a chi-square value of 361, and the p-value was less than 0.00001. And so this was a highly significant deviation from between the success in online courses and the success in all other modalities combined. And it is not due to chance. It is significant. So in my activities and action plan, again, we developed an e-learning committee. I think that the e-learning committee was important to achieving buy-in from the organization's constituents. E-learning committee, those decisions that were made in there were then forwarded to the president's cabinet, and the president's cabinet unanimously approved each decision that was made by the e-learning committee, which, as a reminder, was faculty heavy. The quality standards rubric was developed, and this was an iterative process by which we identified what we thought they should be. We approved it in e-learning committee. Much of it was adapted from Quality Matters, but included much that was not part of Quality Matters. We developed a standard course menu and template that was deployed to all online courses. This was to help improve the student experience in online courses immediately by helping them navigate online courses. Again, the mentor training model developed a social support system where a couple of faculty or 3 faculty were assigned to a mentor that addressed the individualized concepts of this social system, but also dovetailed into a social system itself. The assessment of mentor developed courses, all of our mentors went through not only the process of improving their courses and going through the assessment process, but they also had mentor training, which involved leadership some elements of leadership training as well, how to be a mentor. So after assessing those mentor courses and doing the qualitative assessment through the survey instrument, we identified some common themes that were recommended for improvement. Among those was student learning outcomes and how important that they were when you're developing a course, that those be considered in every single assignment that is put out there, and every single assessment must dovetail into those student learning outcomes. A common feedback is time commitment involved in developing a quality course. That's significant. Not only is it significant, that common feedback exists today, even after a couple of iterations of this project and the process, putting faculty through a years-long project to complete one course, and still a common feedback is the time commitment involved in this project. And we're still seeking ways to adapt that in order to address that concern. That one's not easy. And then accessibility and instructional technology and the need there to improve support systems in that area. We have, out of this project also came a request for another full-time position in the e-learning department that would help address instructional technology and developing accessible assignments. So those were some of the common feedback. We also triangulated results by submitting all of our, not all of, but most of our courses that came through the assessment process to Quality Matters. That has been very rewarding, I think, not only for our institution, but for faculty to see that not only did they go through this process and improve their course by Cleveland standards, but when they submitted their course to Quality Matters, those came back with very high marks. I'm not aware of any of our courses that were submitted to Quality Matters post-assessment that did not achieve a high score or a passing score on the first rendition of their Quality Matters submission. And I think that is substantial, but was also something that that I think was an additional support system for faculty to achieve that level of success with their course. And then launching the peer mentoring program was a part of the project as well. Now we have been through 2 years worth of a rendition of this mentor system. Each year we do make changes to the process by incorporating instructor feedback, and which really is part of double loop learning and the systems part of this as well. Not just putting it out there and leaving it, but adapting the process as we go. Some of the risks and constraints to speak of, COVID-19 was a risk and a constraint, but I think it was also a launch pad for this project. This project during the pandemic was identified as the college's quality enhancement program, or QEP, through SACS. And so that won the project some additional campus resources, as well as increased visibility and buy-in from not only our faculty, but all of the leaders and stakeholders with the institution. The project, what came out of my project, I think, is better than what my project started out to be. I think that the QEP process shows that as well. I think that just perceptions of the project have improved over time from going from faculty who may not have necessarily wanted to put the time and effort in or complained about the time and effort that was involved. In our last faculty meeting, we heard department chairs give an update on where they were with SOL courses and recognize faculty for their achievements in both SOL and quality matters. But the faculty perceptions early on were definitely a risk to this project and had to be addressed. A possible LMS change loomed as we were planning this project. We were asked to explore other learning management systems from a concept of cost, but as well as functionality that's provided through Blackboard versus other more recently released learning management systems, for example, like Canvas. So that was a risk because it would have added time and effort, even on top of having developed a quality course, to shift that into a new learning management system. And so we advised against that due to everything that was going on with the project at the time. Major schedule changes due to COVID, enrollment trends. Initially our enrollment was shrinking at the beginning of the project. I think last semester we experienced a 16% growth in enrollment. So we have swayed from, basically being going down in enrollment to achieving higher enrollment. And then budget, as a result of enrollment and COVID and all of these things, was a risk. But none of those risks seem to affect the project. The one with probably the most impact was faculty perceptions of the project and how we dealt with that moving forward. Quality assurance, I think that creating interdependent teams, looking at the e-learning committee and the mentors that were developed and the president's cabinet, and sharing in and amongst those teams. The e-learning committee is also an open team, so members move in and out of that team. You get different perspectives at every level: faculty, administration, top level leadership, and incorporating all of that feedback into quality improvement. The committee governance of the project, I think, creates some accountability along the way as well, and ensures not only the quality of the project, but the sustainability of the project as well. Rubric enforcement and reinforcement. Early on I said that, I thought that the rubric would be a technical fix to a technical problem, but this has turned out to be more of an adaptive problem. And really, the life of this project and the ability of this project to be sustained relies on college leaders to continue to require that faculty develop to a certain level and to incorporate this project into faculty professional development year after year, but to also take the feedback from faculty and to change this project, change this system using that feedback year after year, so that it not only does the quality of the program get better, but it also encourages that feedback, which achieves a certain level of buy-in as well as helps sustain the project. Triangulation of assessment and results, we've talked about that and talked about how Quality Matters became a good instrument to assess. Our institution was awarded a Quality Matters National Award last October for our work on this project. I think it's called the Making a Difference for Students Award, which was presented last October's Quality Matters National Conference. And then sustainability, sustainability, sustainability. I think that, even going into my project, this was something that I did not want to work on that disappeared when I was done with this program. And so every step of the way, every feedback that was incorporated, every decision that was made as to how this would be put into organizational plans, how it became the QEP, leaders that were chose, staff that were chose on the inside to lead this after the fact, even during the fact, all have created a model of sustainability for this project. And two of our staff that are involved in this process, Dr. Witherspoon and Dr. Nanny, are here today. And I think that also, thank y'all very much for being here, but it also speaks to their buy-in of this project, and they have both been critical in ensuring this project's success, and will be in the future to ensure it as well. But sustainability is what I was shooting for with this project. Again, not something that disappears when I'm done. So outcomes, we wanted to increase the student success rate, decrease the withdrawal rate, increase instructor presence in courses. And we wanted to develop quality online courses. We wanted a sustained project. Again, it became the QEP. What you see at the bottom was how we have branded this project moving into the QEP, SOL, or Strengthening Online Learning. We have a landing page for it on the college's website. We developed a logo using some in-house expertise in marketing. All of these things were goals of the project and helped in sustainability of the project. When we talk about, well, did it work? I think it might be too early to tell. I can tell you that in the past 2 semesters, if we take our historical data set that we used in our qualitative analysis, the past 2 semesters performance data is 3.3% higher than the entire historical data set. I think that's significant, but I don't know that we can tie that to the project yet. We don't have enough, I think, to call that a correlation. This spring success rate, spring of 2022, was 77.5%, and that is in online courses. And that is the highest success rate of any semester in the historical data set. So again, not enough to really say that is definitely a result of this project, but I think over time, if we do see that continue to trend in a positive direction, I think it would be enough to say that this has made a difference. And I would also, just in reflection, this project, I think, became more about lifting others up, realizing that it's not about me, it's about faculty, it's about students, it's about college leaders, it's about the organization and learning to learn. I think I have learned that teams and task interdependence is important to success. I've developed a holistic understanding of leadership. I've learned the difference between adaptive and technical problems, and learned a lot about culture in the process and how difficult it is to change culture, but how it can be done. Organizational learning and how important that is, and how important it is not only for the success of the institution in the future. I put in here, results don't matter. I think that a better way to say that is that any result matters. It doesn't matter whether it's a positive result or a negative result, that any feedback, any result out of this process matters, because it's what we do with that result. It's how we learn from that result. And I think that early on, I was very nervous about whether or not this would work, but have learned to drop that, to let that go, and to let what happens happen and learn from that process. And then I think that important to any sustainability model is alignment with organizational goals, strategic plan, leader vision, buy-in with all stakeholders, and then culture. So for future study, and this comes out of just what has happened in the past couple years, as well as feedback through the project. Number one, some research needs to be conducted into the impact of emerging instructional modalities. HyFlex is a new term that we've all heard in the past year or two that came out of the pandemic. It's already a buzzword in the system, and I think will have significant implications to student success and online course design moving forward. The impact of faculty teaching load and how that impacts quality courses. I think that it does. I think that giving faculty higher teaching loads impacts how much time that they have to innovate and how much time they have to design. So research needs to be conducted into that. And then lastly, the impact of extrinsic and intrinsic benefits on faculty motivation and professional development activities. And how do you balance the carrot and the stick? We know that the stick does not work and creates pushback in most systems. So how can we impact faculty motivation in professional development activities? Any questions?
Hearing none, thank you, Jonathan. If you will stop your share, I'll share my screen now. And we'll move on to the next part of our program this afternoon. Let me go here. So here are the things that I think you've covered all the things in the top 5 here about your actual project itself. You've circled back to your theoretical framework. You've done an excellent job there. The Getzel's-Guba model, the nomothetic and the ideographic, wherein what the organization needs for you to do every day has to be what you want to do or are capable of doing. And that therein lies the problem. What do you do if folks aren't? And as you pointed out, this is not, that's what Getzel's-Guba tries to teach us, is it's not a technical issue, it's a culture issue. And I think that when you grasp that, I think that's what made your project. When you understood this isn't just simply a technical thing. I think you've answered the questions about how you applied your coursework. You've overcome the challenges. I think you've talked about how this has impacted you as a leader, made you a better problem solver. So I guess the only other question I have in this one is, what course impacted you most and why, of the 9 that you had in the DEOL doctoral sequence?
So it's hard to say because it really is a culmination. I think the earlier courses provided kind of a call to attention and some awareness around organizations and leaders. And you start to see traits in leaders and you try to incorporate those into yourself. I would say that, I love to learn. And the one that presented the content from which I was least familiar was probably qualitative and quantitative analysis. That took a lot of time and effort to wrap my head around. So I appreciate the time spent in doing that. I appreciated the culture course and learning that. I think that this last course that's in the program on adaptive and, the difference in just contemporary topics, solving future problems, I think has the most significant impact on the future. So I really couldn't point to a single course, but to say that from each, I think that I have gained something. If I had to pick a least favorite, it would probably be technology, just because that's what I eat, sleep, and breathe every day. And so it presented probably the least opportunity to learn for me. But I tried to incorporate my insight for the other folks in that course so that maybe they would get more out of it having me in there, I guess.
That's an excellent perspective. All right, this is not about the program or your presentation today. This is a question for you. As you know, Gardner Webb's motto is Pro Deo et Humanitate, service for God and humanity. So my final question for you today is, how do you hope to or going to go forward and serve God and humanity now that you have completed this program?
So I think one thing that I developed through the program is shedding my personal ambition to achieve and adopting a passion for my followers to achieve. I'm one person and I can make a difference, but I think that the biggest difference I can make is by helping others learn to learn and learn to make a difference. And I think that to increase my impact, I need to impact others. And so that's what I plan to do, is that by demonstrating solid leadership skills, by giving others opportunity for success and opportunity to develop themselves, that I can make more of an impact.
Excellent answer. I think you're already doing that. Jonathan, I've enjoyed working with you. This concludes our presentation this afternoon of the project. We'll move into the next phase. Dr. Bowen, thank you for being here this afternoon. I will turn our program over to Dr. Hamilton, who will continue on with our partnering organization supervisor, Dr. Bowen. Dr. Hamilton.
All right, Jonathan, excellent project. First, as you know, and Dr. Lamb may have told you this earlier, the real project in this program was you. You could have picked any project, but we were working on you from the beginning. Dr. Bowen, thank you on behalf of Gardner Webb and the DOL program. Thank you for agreeing to be a project host for Jonathan's project. We certainly appreciate that. My really only one question for you is a little reflection question, and you can go in as much detail or as little as you'd like about what impact has Jonathan had with this project on your organization.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to help Jonathan with this. It's been my absolute pleasure. Jonathan truly is a servant leader. Before he ever entered this program, that's just his nature. That's how he operates. And so watching him take this problem, assemble a team of highly qualified folks to help carry this through to fruition has just been a joy for me. He knows how to work with people. There are no silos in Jonathan's world. I mean, he will bend over backwards to help anybody, and has shown that throughout this process. And sometimes it's not easy when you are crossing departments in a project like this. And, sometimes people are territorial, and he just has a way of being able to smooth those things over and get to the heart of the matter and make us better. And I honestly feel like this project in my 23 years here has had the greatest probability of moving the needle on improving student learning. And so I could not be more excited about watching how this evolves over the next 3 more years, I think.
That's great. Thank you for providing that feedback. It is a partnership between our project host, and the supervisor. In this case, Dr. Lamb is the chair. And so the only other question I have for you is, do you know of any reason why Gardner Webb should not grant a terminal degree to Jonathan?
Absolutely not. I can't think of anyone deserving. He has definitely earned it.
Yeah, we agree too. In the chat, Dr. Bowen, I'm going to give you I just sent you through the chat a quick link. It should open up in another browser.
Yes.
It just that is information that just goes to me to make sure that, kind of evaluate our partnerships with our different folks. If you'll take 60 seconds to do that, I'd appreciate it. Otherwise, on behalf of the university and the DO program, I want to thank you so much for that. So at this point, Jonathan, I'll talk directly to you. Scripture tells us where much is given, much shall be required. And earning a doctorate degree or terminal degree in any area comes with it a lot of responsibility, especially with the people that you work and the people that you lead. And I remember my dissertation chair reminded me that, once you have that terminal degree and doctors in front of your name, there's a higher expectation. And she said, people will ask you a question and you'll think at first they're asking your opinion, and you realize, wait a minute, they're asking me what I know. And so you'll learn how to listen and know when they're asking opinion versus when they're asking knowledge. And she said, it's also a lot of times you won't know the answer, but it's okay to say, I don't know the answer, but I know how to get it, and I'll get the answer and I'll get back with you on that. Going forth as a graduate, you're going to be the only GW that some people ever see. They'll judge the institution. They'll judge our program by their interactions with you. Now, they shouldn't do that, but they do. But we feel very good that you will be an ambassador, and with your work that you've done in the last 3 years with your project and with us and your classes, I am privileged and just proud to be able to introduce you as Dr. Jonathan Davis.
Yay.
And so with that, congratulations. And with that, I will say you will be a great ambassador for the university and for the program. You'll get a chance to give us your contact information. It will stay with us. It doesn't go to the university, so you won't be getting spam calls from anybody else. It'll be a place for you to come back and speak to a class or come to the Summer Institute, share what's going on with the work that you're doing to help some of our other students that are lined up behind you in year 1 and 2. So we're so glad to have you as an alumni. I want to thank you for choosing Gardner-Webb and for choosing the DOL program. And we wish you nothing but the best and can't wait to see you in December. When you come back for graduation, it'll be like our family reunion. And we're looking forward to seeing you. So congratulations. And if there's no comments from anyone else, I'm done. Dr. Lamb, I'll let you close up with a prayer.
All right. In keeping with our theme of service, this afternoon's prayer comes from Saint Teresa of Avila. Let me serve you, Lord. So if you'll pray with me. Lord, help me to respond to the slightest prompting of your grace, so that I may be your trustworthy instrument for your honor. May your will be done in time and eternity by me, in me, and through me. Amen. Congratulations, Jonathan. We are so proud of you and for the work that you've done. And as you know, this one is close to my heart. This is kind of me and what I do. And so I have enjoyed the time spent with you. I appreciate how hard you dug on that chi-square and the things that we did, the time that we were together. I had a great time with you. You probably didn't, but I did. So
I enjoyed it.
I
thoroughly,
appreciate
trust me.
that.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun. It made our time work together worthwhile. It was a good group. Jim, I think I see you tomorrow at 10. We're looking forward to that. Dr. Nanny, thank you for being with us today. Brad got through earlier in Stacia. And so congratulations to Brad and Stacia. And Dr. Nanny, you have a closing comment for us before we go today?
Well, I'm just so proud of Jonathan, and he is definitely going to be an asset as an alum. And I know you all are so proud of him. I knew he would go in there and rock it, and I knew you would take care of him and give him the very best. And so thank you so much from my heart for all you've done for him. I knew he was going to be in great hands with all of you. So thank you so much, Dale.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Jonathan, you want to say something in closing today?
I just thank you all. I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity. It's an excellent program of personal development, and I think that its impacts on people and organizations are significant. I do.
Thank you for that. All right, if nothing else, again, Dr. Bowen, thank you for your participation. Dr. Jones, thank you for being here today. Everybody else. If nothing else, Dr. Jones, you can adjourn us.
All right. I just want to say congratulations, Jonathan. It's been my pleasure to have you in class. And you did a great job today, as always, and I know you'll do great things. So congratulations.
Thank you. Everybody have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.